This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connected to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today evening news update for Friday, September 18. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Against the backdrop of a strong public outcry about the high level of child abuse in Barbados, Social Care Minister Steve Blackett announces sweeping changes to tackle the problem head-on are coming. Among these is a memorandum of understanding between the Child Care Board and the Royal Barbados Police Force. It has been developed to chart the way forward.
Some of the provisions of this draft MOU are that child care officers are to be trained in investigative interviewing by the police department, and police officers are to be trained in the techniques of interviewing children by the professionals at the Child Care Board. This training is to be conducted periodically on a collaborative basis with the aim of enhancing the interviewing skills of both groups. Secondly, police officers from the Sex Crimes and Trafficking Unit or other assigned police officers will accompany child care officers when conducting interviews in relation to child abuse cases in the future. Thirdly, all suspected sexual and physical child abuse cases are to be reported to the Royal Barbados Police Force by the Child Care Board before the close of the workday on which the referral was made to the Child Care Board. Fourthly, the Child Care Board has undertaken a comprehensive review of the information management system of the agency and is expediting a substantially upgraded system.
The Child Care Board has come under intense scrutiny following the deaths of 2 children whose cases were handled by the board. Minister Blackett told reporters while he believes officers specifically assigned to child abuse cases work in good faith, the public's concerns cannot be ignored. He admitted a major worry is the current practice of only removing children from homes when there is a clear case of abuse. He says this cannot continue.
The general approach has been one of counseling, where there were willing and cooperative parents and guardians to do all that was possible to keep the children in the care of their family members. Now, while this may have worked effectively in the past, and through counseling and training some healing and restoration was brought to many families, it is very clear, as underscored by these recent cases, that societal conditions in Barbados have changed radically and dramatically over the last 10 years. And there is need for the agency to adopt new protocols in handling the investigation of cases of alleged child abuse and neglect. Currently, there is no comprehensive or consolidated Children's Act in Barbadian law. Rather, relevant legislation is located in many or a number of acts. Additionally, in Barbados, there is no legal requirement to report incidents of child abuse to authorities.
In other news this Friday, a 16-year-old boy has been remanded to Dodds after being charged with murder. Chaudhry Antonio Gobin appeared in court today in connection with the unnatural death of Shaquem Romario Turton of Long Gap, Spooners Hill, St. Michael. Turton died on Wednesday after he was struck by a stone in his temple. The accused will return to court on October 16. On the industrial front, Acting General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Rosalind Smith, says kitchen staff at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital will not be returning to work until their grievances are settled. The workers walked off the job complaining that extractor fans in the kitchen, which have not been working for months, are still out of order and the heat is too unbearable to work. Smith says management has agreed the situation is unacceptable and workers have nothing to fear.
If you allow the workers to stay off, then it means that they will have to pay. 2 workers already fainted within the kitchen, and I don't think it would be wise to look to endanger anyone else. And if you look at the health and safety act, obviously the management will have to follow that, because if they will be liable if something happens to those workers.
Meanwhile, communications specialist at the hospital, Julie Carrington, says every effort is being made to resolve the problem.
Management is cognizant of the heat conditions in the kitchen and is working to ensure that the extractor fans will be installed as soon as possible. In the interim, management has provided cooling relief with the provision of 9 industrial fans and 3 evaporative fans. Presently, the 2 extractor fans which were ordered are in the Bridgetown port, and efforts are ongoing to have them cleared as soon as possible. In the meantime, the relief teams will continue working over the weekend, and normal operations in the kitchen would resume as soon as is practically possible.
The Spring Garden Highway has been a major worry for pedestrians attempting to cross over to the popular Brandon's Beach, but in a month's time that won't be the case. Today, construction got underway for a new pedestrian crossing with traffic lights and a ramp for the disabled. Minister of Transport and Works Michael Lashley says it is a temporary solution and his ministry is still examining the possibility of constructing an overpass or an underpass. But in the meantime, he believes it's a significant ease for pedestrians.
We would be failing our duty if we did not come up with at least one solution. As I said, this is a temporary solution, traffic lights, and also pedestrian crossing at a cost within the budget. So I certainly believe that not only the residents in this area will be happy, but Barbadians will be happy, and also the representatives of this area who also is lobbying for this solution or some solution to ensure that its constituents are safe, and that when they cross to go over to enjoy the beach, that they cross it in a very safe manner and that they are protected.
The minister also gave strong hints that Spring Garden Highway could also be in for a name change. There have been calls for the highway to be named after the popular Calypsonian Griner. Minister Lashley says the matter has his attention.
We have a committee in place. That committee not only dealing with highways, but also other roads and other areas in Barbados that we can name after famous Barbadians, and Barbados have made a successful and outstanding contribution to the development of this country. And so we are given the suggestion from the MP precinct with very active consideration. And as soon as we receive the necessary documentation from the MP for the hearing, and I hope that he serves us with that information very shortly, that we will sit down with our group and our committee, and it will receive, let me say, extremely active consideration.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
To the region now, stealing water is an unusual crime, but in Antigua and Barbuda, the government is taking action to crack down on the problem. Antigua, like most Caribbean countries, have been hit by a drought, and according to the Antigua Public Utilities Authority, some people have resorted to wrongdoing to get water. There are reports that some have been bringing a pickup truck to a standpipe, attaching hoses and filling up their barrels with water. But Chief of Staff Lionel Hurst says government is moving to enact OECS legislation on water resources, which will include measures to prevent people from wasting and stealing water. Under the legislation, water rates will go up when there is a shortage and down when there is adequate supply. On the world scene, Japan's parliament has voted to allow the military to fight overseas for the first time since the end of World War II 70 years ago. A vote on the new law was delayed for several hours as the opposition tried to stop the measure coming into force. Outside, demonstrators rallied in last-ditch show of protest. We get the details from this CNN report.
Outrage in Tokyo this week saw one of Japan's largest anti-war protests in more than 50 years. Tens of thousands fighting a drastic change in military policy. Parliament passed a radical reinterpretation of Japan's pacifist constitution. Our people are going to get pulled into war, says this IT engineer. Japanese troops could go into battle for the first time since World War II. The changes, called collective self-defense, allow actual combat under certain conditions. Recent polls show it's opposed by more than half the Japanese public. These protesters want Abe to step down, many of them students.
We don't know war.
Japanese youth re-emerging after years of apathy and absence from politics, using social media to draw bigger crowds, outnumbering, even overpowering the police. I have children. I have many grandchildren, she says. This fight is for them. A fight to preserve Japan's pacifist past amid fears of a militaristic future.
That's the evening news. For more news and sports, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also catch us on Channel 101 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for all the latest news and sports. I am Maricla Williams. Have a good weekend.